well, it's just over there. It's, you know, it's something that happens in faraway places in third world countries, and yeah, it's sad, but it doesn't really affect me, and it's easy to put it out of sight, out of mind. But when I learned that it was that widespread and that prevalent of an issue also in our country, it is happening all around us. And I also learned that Michigan is one of the top dozen states. We're in Detroit and Grand Rapids have come up in the news lately with bus, and Chicago, and all these stories are coming up in the news that just make it real of, you guys, we need to wake up and stop being naive and stop sticking our head in the sand and pretending it's not there and it'll go away, and to rise up and take a stand for this. And I mean, I always thought slavery was a thing of the history books, that we've been there, done that. We're, you know, we live in a modern world, right? There's no such thing as slavery, and I found out how naive that was. And they, the numbers are shocking. They estimate 30 million are enslaved in our world today, and that it's more than all 400 years of the transatlantic slave trade that you learn about in school. And that sounds so horrible, and so how could we let that happen? And, or even, I'm not a very big history person, but I remember being deeply impacted by the Holocaust and learning about the Holocaust. I remember distinctly thinking, how could people on Earth exist on Earth while something that horrific happened and either not even know about it or not do anything about it? And then I realized we live in that same world today where Holocaust proportion tragedies are happening all around us every day in our own backyards and in countries across the globe, and we are either unaware or it's easier to just not own it and not make it our own problem. And so when I was down at the Big Ticket Festival and walked out of that experience tent, I was with a good friend of mine, and both of us are very passionate about this issue. But I remember distinctly thinking, this breaks my heart, but what on earth can I do about it? It's such a huge problem. It's so much bigger than me. What on earth can I do about it? And if I've learned anything from this whole process and this whole journey, it is that there are things in the world worth looking at around you and saying, what about the world makes me angry, makes me sick inside, to the point that I'm going to sit in that sickness instead of just say, well, yeah, it's terrible, and move on with my life. Ask yourself the question, what can I do about it? What am I going to do about it? Because this is not right. And as a human being with a heart underneath your rib cage, you should not be able to exist in a world with atrocities like that and tolerate it. So I'm so thankful for Traffic Jam and for the opportunity to, since this whole journey of learning about this, I've had the opportunity to organize a flash mob dance for human trafficking. That's why I'm wearing this shirt backwards, because I wanted to sport my big stop sign. But so some people here took part in a flash mob dance to raise awareness for this thing. So whatever your gifts are, whatever your talents are, you can have a voice. You do have a voice for this cause. And that's the biggest thing I want to encourage you folks about tonight is I am no one special. I am not a celebrity. I'm not even a musician. I just care deeply about these kids and these people in our world today enough to say, what can I do? Give me something to do tangibly towards this cause. So I'm so thankful for an organization like Traffic Jam that gave me a vehicle for my passion to turn it into action. And I want to encourage you folks that Traffic Jam is a very neat organization. I'll jump up here and tell you a little bit about what they're specifically doing and how you can be involved. But they're designed to get the involvement of regular, everyday heroes that want to get on board and want to use their voice for the voiceless. And so I say all that to just encourage you that yes, it's heavy, yes, it's horrifying, yes, it's huge, but every single one of you in this room today has a voice that you can lift up for those that don't. And that's what's so cool about this event for me is just stop and think with me right now. Bands in New Zealand, Australia, China, Japan, Pakistan, India, Bangladesh, people all over the world right now on this day either have already got on stage or are getting on stage and talking about this issue, and we can rise up as a people and say we are not going to tolerate this any longer, and to fight for those children and to fight for those people as if they were our own, because all of humanity is precious in the sight of God, and we need to lay our lives down for those. Today is Veterans Day. I don't know if we have any veterans in the house tonight, but we honor you and thank you for fighting for our freedom. And we want to recognize that there can be no better way to do that than to continue to lay our lives down for those that are still in chains and are still in bondage. And they are just as worthy of freedom as we are. And freedom, I'm learning, is the most basic human right, and no human deserves to be in chains. And so I know that's a heavy topic, but I want to leave it on an inspirational note of just ask yourself that question: what can I do with my voice to be an advocate for these people in our world today? And just kind of let yourself stew over that in a good way, because I think we're so uncomfortable with feeling in our hearts sometimes. If it hits a little too close and makes us a little uncomfortable, we don't like that in our culture. But I think it's good to say, no, some things in our world are meant to break our hearts. It is good to have your heart broken, rightfully so, over these things, but to not stop there and to ask yourself, what can I do about this? And encourage you guys that together we can and are making a difference in these lives. So on that note, I want to welcome up Jared and Alicia Gregory, and thank you guys so much for your attentive listening.